When this Portland couple decided to build their mountainside retreat, it had to be special in more ways than one. First, it had to be cutting-edge green, bring big city style to the country, and though complex in design, it had to be simple enough for easy living. Parkdale, Oregon is a bite-sized hamlet just south of historic Hood River, and it's where the Kelly Woodford family built their home on the northern slope of Mount Hood.
What really got us going on the idea of building a house by Mount Hood was the fact that all of us in our family, my wife and I and our two boys, all like to ski, and it was our way of, finding a way to reconnect with our teenage boys. This house is really laid out and designed to be a family gathering place. It's a place where community is more emphasized than sleeping spaces. We really have designed the house to have a lot of flex sleeping spaces, Murphy beds and hallways that can convert to bedrooms, and have it really be a place where families could gather.
We've lived in our house in Portland for 27 years, and that's become a very regimented place. Up here, life is much more easygoing. When we were young, in our 20s, our friends would drop by, or we would drop by our friends. You never called and made a date. And I was hoping that this place would kind of recapture some of that, so that if people were up here and they drove by and they saw our car, they would feel free to stop by, and we've kind of lost that.
Much of architect Liz Olberding's home plan is based on minimalist design principles and hinges on multi-use community space. The home's sealed Arctic entry is an Alaskan mudroom. Acting as an airlock, it prevents cold air from rushing in or warm air escaping the house. Just inside, the cement block family screening room puts the focus on group activities, while separate futons repurpose the area as convertible sleeping space. In daylight, a public room at the top of the stairs is a quiet retreat. At night, add a Murphy bed and Soji screens, and it's a very private bedroom.
From a design perspective, we wanted the house to be minimalist, just plain simple. Kind of bulletproof, I guess, because we planned on having lots of different people stay here. So we wanted it to be a place where folks would be comfortable and not worry about the furniture or whatever.
The master bedroom is a study in minimalism, contrasting lush natural paints, plasters, and wood beams with exposed electrical conduit, micro accent lights, a steel ceiling, and gray block walls. Framing lumber is all FSC certified, and wood trim is reclaimed old growth from 100-year-old sinker logs rescued from the Columbia River.
When we think and talk about building a house that's sustainable, a long life cycle is really important. And we think this house, the way we built it, it will last, we hope, a few hundred years. I can see people in this house 200 years from now. To me, that's sustainability in its most true sense.
A distinctive showcase for alternative power, heating, and cooling mechanisms, the house is the first LEED Silver certified home on the West Coast, and just one of 4 such homes in the nation.
I'm a builder, and a house like this enables me to take risks that I otherwise really couldn't take with a regular client, because some of the technologies and some of the design techniques that we utilized were kind of experimental, and it was really fun to have the opportunity to take on some of those things without having to worry about anybody other than myself being unhappy with what the result might be.
Walls and foundations are constructed with eco-friendly building blocks made from reclaimed wood and cement with an added layer of mineral wool insulation. The south-facing photovoltaic panels act as the home's power station, tracking the sun's movement throughout the day, then resetting after dark.
The photovoltaic panels that we have is a 3 kW system. They are mounted on poles, and they track the sun during the day, so they're more efficient than a panel you might find on the roof of a house. So it was very easy for me to make the decision to put the panels in the backyard, have them be more effective in the energy that they brought into the house. A net zero energy house is one that puts as much power back onto the grid as it takes off. In the summertime, we're putting all kinds of power back onto the grid. In January, we're taking power off the grid. But in the end, we're balancing between those two and using zero net energy.
In the great room, high ceilings and large super-insulated south-facing windows frame Mount Hood. Acoustic baffling panels lower the hollow echo effect associated with high, open interior spaces. The home's east-west orientation embraces the sun's passage, and the downslope wind patterns bring natural ventilation, reducing heat and cooling requirements. Radiant heat below concrete floors conserves power, delivers a more reliable heat source, and lessens temperature fluctuations. In winter, the high-efficiency fireplace helps provide supplemental heating.
The fireplace is a masonry fireplace, which is really kind of unusual these days because they are higher cost. But in this house, it was important because it really acts as a heat sink. So even long after the fire is out, the masonry around that fire is still putting heat out into the rest of the house, and it'll do it for actually, a few days. The appliances were all selected to be as energy efficient as possible and are Energy Star rated. Appliances tend to be one of the biggest consumers of electricity in a house, so it was really important that we carefully select those. The countertops in the kitchen are two different kinds. One is paper stone, the other is ice stone. The paper stone is made with reclaimed newspapers and acrylic resins. The ice stone is a concrete countertop made with broken up beer bottle and wine bottle glass.
Natural clay plaster walls and zero VOC paints draw vibrant colors from a distinctive palette.
Probably one of the simplest, least costly things you can do on a house is use low VOC paints or no VOC paints. Of course, there's a lot of things you can do that cost a lot more, but you don't have to do those. So there's a balance between somebody's pocketbook and their commitment to energy efficiency. There's always a green alternative. You can do it at so many levels, and I think there's a misconception out there that it has to cost more. We kind of get a kick out of the fact that really this house defies any particular kind of architectural style or description of a style. We have the loft influences that you would see in big cities. We have the lodge kind of influence that you would see in mountain homes. We have an industrial kind of influence that you might see in commercial architecture. Definitely there's a lot of modernist influence. But none of those by themselves will describe this house. We weren't trying to develop some kind of new architectural style, we just wanted it to be personal to us. Neil Kelly Company, a company started by my dad 60 years ago, has been involved in some ways in sustainability for a lot of years. We did our first solar demonstration house in 1979. So this house is really kind of an outcome of all that. It's just, a demonstration of where our roots go and what our values are. My father would love this house. I'm not sure that it's his architectural style, but he would love the feel of it. He would really like the green and sustainable aspects of it. We've been involved in this sort of thing for a long time, and that was part of him too.